Hello everybody, welcome back to the XIV Endwalker. And now, just a quick heads up, I wanted to apologize for the video being longer last time, but if you watched it, you understood why. Now, this one's going to be longer because it's going to have a couple missions, it's going to have a trial and a dungeon, and I don't know how long it's going to take. So, let us go. Do I trust you to deliver on your promise? I do. Only. I hate waiting. I want that animated. I want it now. We share your impatience, I assure you. Is there truly nothing else we can assist with in the meantime? I wish the sitting around's about unbearable. Pity the forum frowns upon recreational explosions. Well, as long as they can't prove it was premeditated, get you gone. I've mistakes to make. In that case, I suppose I should go and return the key to the reactor. I'll have to look more. I'll have one more look to make sure that nothing has gone wrong, unintentionally or otherwise. I'm certain there are better uses for your time. However, I will join you at the Charlene Helmet anon. Well, back to the Hamlet. Guess I can look at that shop while I wait. Go check out this shop that's over here. Where is it? Ah, there we are. Could always use a repair to my gear. No? Really? Oh, there's something. Can I change my glamour yet? Nope, not here. What about you there, Gatsop? Can I sell you anything? No? Well, poopy. If you wait here, your companions are bound to wind up sooner or later. What is the reward for this? Yeah, it's another headgear. Okay, I'll wait. That's a lovely crystal.
All set, I take it?
Yay! Voiced.
We finished what we could, delivered supplies, tracked down escaped animals, trivial tasks as they may be.
That's enough, don't you think? If there was anything more important still undone, that would be a problem in itself.
The vessel is essentially ready for departure. All that remains is to load the final batch of supplies and see everyone on board. Once we've readied the ether burner, that is.
Ah, had a feeling we might find you all here.
Our consultations with the Loperates, too, have run their course. Pleased I am to say that our researchers' concerns have, for the most part, been allayed, though some insist on making adjustments to the very end. For their part, Livingway and her peers have graciously offered to stay and keep the people company, lest any lingering queries go unanswered.
All that remains is to wait for the refined adamantite.
Alphino, are you there? It's me, Cryo. Your special delivery has arrived. Round up everyone and come to the harbor at once.
Speak of the devil. Let us go at once.
Forgive the intrusion, Master Fortuner. I bring urgent news. A great commotion has broken out in Scholar's Harbor. Your presence is requested, with all speed.
Now, where might this delivery be? Oh.
Oh, we have a problem. We have a huge problem.
I'm sure it's very important, but we cannot accept these without the proper permits.
By the 12! Surely, these can't all be.
It's everybody. And I do mean everybody.
Bleeding hellfire! They're bringing them by sea and by air. All these folks in these crates.
And more on the way. Got your adamantite right here. A bigger haul than any of these sorry bastards brought, and that's no lie.
Yes, because you were charged with seeing the shipments from Gridania and Uldar here, along with your own. Give credit where credit is due.
Sounds like the sorry whinging of a sore loser. An hypocrite to boot. Ain't no way a scrawny whelp like you took a dozen steps inside a Dalamant shard.
I'll have you know I went all the way to the entrance. Furthermore, 'twas my contacts that enabled us to enlist the cooperation of the Sky Pirates.
Left you outside so you wouldn't get anyone killed, did they? Well then, credit where credit's due. You did a right fine job sitting on your ass.
I love these two.
Take that back.
Make me.
We need a side story with those two.
My, what a grand welcome party.
Hey, Hancock.
Hancock and Saraban. We come bearing relics both sacred and Allegan, as well as a few other gifts that may be of help, to be presented with best wishes from the Eastern Alliance.
I myself have come with a sacred relic of the Kojin. Upon learning of your need, Bunchin bade me deliver it on behalf of the Blue with all haste. Fearing I could not swim here with the necessary speed, however, I thought to beg our Confederate allies for aid. To my delight, Hancock was already preparing for departure at the selfsame port, and had space for additional cargo.
We did, of course, need quite the impressive vessel to get it all here in time. Fortunately, our majestic associates have been more than helpful. 'Tis an honor to join the Warrior of Light on another adventure, they tell me.
The Evil East guys. It all
It's
comes full
wonderful to
circle.
hear, but what of the extraordinary cost? I shudder to think of the ransom we must pay for such a bounty.
Fret not for your coin purse, young Alphino. Lord Lolorito looks ever towards the profits of the future, and thus the East Aldenard Trading Company went to some lengths to reduce the financial liability. And since the Scions funded the entire venture, not a gill need be rendered up in compensation.
Wait, what?
Everything is already yours.
Oh, what did Totaro do?
We funded the venture. When?
Don't let the name fool you. This coin keeper knows a thing or two about spending.
Totaro, what did you do?
When it comes to capital investiture, a sprinkling of gil here and there will not do. You need enough savings to make waves when it really counts, which is why frugality is paramount.
What did you do?
We also had the benefit of a generous patron. Generous being rather an understatement.
Who's the backer?
She has supported us from the shadows since the very founding of the Scions. We even had coffers to fill.
Mother!
Millions.
I remain, of course, an entirely neutral party. I simply thought our family's coffers were needlessly full. We can hardly take them with us on your teeny-tiny toy boat, now can we? And would be a shame to leave all that hard-earned wealth unspent. Waste not.
There's two of them.
However did you manage so much in so short a time? We expected word to reach only a fraction of our allies.
Did I not tell you I have my ways?
Erenville, you were involved too.
I received a letter from Cryo after we parted ways in Labyrinthos. She explained what the Scions were trying to accomplish, and why you might soon require the services of the Gleaners, spread across the world as we are. I pray you do not interpret this as a betrayal of Charlotte. I accept that the Forum's aim in pushing us to our limits was to preserve what knowledge we have, and I bear you no ill will for it. Yet, in collecting that knowledge, what I came to appreciate most about our star is that there remains so much we do not know. That is why I chose to help the Scions, to combat the obliteration of those countless, undiscovered wonders. I held no illusions that they would be less demanding taskmasters. Though, rest assured, if I had, I would have been sorely disappointed.
He is pissed.
To make a long story short, the whole of the guild ship cooperated to ensure your call was heard far and wide.
Everybody. Hey! Alfie.
What's this about a ship that can fly to the moon?
Sid? The Ironworks is here.
And why didn't you mention it sooner? The one time you don't beg my aid, your problem's a bloody ship that can fly to the moon.
Oh, Sid.
Sid, you brought the team. Of course. Garland Ironworks' finest. You need only point us towards my new favorite ship. Oh, I nearly forgot. We stopped by Whirlid before coming here and picked up a package from Gaius. He's still of the mind that actions make for better penance than words, contrite or otherwise, so we offer none of the latter. What he sent is an Allegan relic Valens used in his weapons experiments. Has a fair bit of refined adamantite in it, too.
As you like us not suspect, we've also brought adamantite for Mordona's Dalamud shard. I admit to some consternation upon first receiving Kryl's message. So few scions remain at the Rising Stones now. Far too few for such an expedition. However, the Gleaners were able to secure us reinforcements. Idleshire's treasure hunters, not least among them. I know. How the Gobbyflop fought. Slowfix's gratitude for the safe return of his daughter has not waned, and he gathered his kin to our side with an astounding quickness. The clash between their machina and the Allagan defences was a sight to behold. I wager even you would have been impressed by the magnitude of the Gobby-boons.
Fascinating as all this is, I fail to see how it explains your presence here. Does Razat Han not have more pressing concerns?
We do. Yet averting the final days would be the most expedient solution. That, and I am indebted to you. Though they chose to take their leave of Thavnair, those you saved in Galimund remain my people. My gratitude is beyond words. 'Tis appropriate that I aid you in kind. If in the doing we bring salvation to others of this star, so much the better. You will recall that I spoke of my father, Midgard Sommer, and his journey across the great expanse. As he traveled betwixt the stars, his resplendent scales drank of the ether in those nigh empty surrounds, and imparted to him the strength to persevere. Thinking they might further your cause, I called out to my kin for consent. Ashdai's answer was silence, as ever. Tiamat and Chrisvelgre, however, responded favorably to the suggestion. My sire, too, stirred from his slumber long enough to speak and say, "Very well." Thus have I brought you his own worm scales. Fit them to your purpose, and seek a worthier fate for us all.
You'd be hard-pressed to find someone else so familiar with the unique properties of dragon scales. So I invited myself.
Look at me, this is so unbelievable. I've gone right back round to believing it again. Forget a 6% gain in efficiency. With all these goodies, we could get 7, no, 10, no, 14 bleeding percent. Think of how far we could go. What we could do with that much power. What we could blow up.
If Kokol is duly convinced, then it must be true. In which case, the Scion's end of the bargain has been fulfilled. Would you not agree?
Come on, dude. Give it up.
Yes, Father?
I know not what you seek of Hydaelyn, nor for what purpose you would take command of our ship. Yet this much is certain. To do so will be to dictate the fate of this star and the lives upon it. The lives of each and every creature, in their magnitude and their fragility. Do you understand? And are you prepared?
We have seen and we have felt how much each life shapes this world. And so we are determined to abandon none. We understand what is at stake, and we are prepared to bear this burden.
Then I will bear it with you. I beg you, share your struggles with me. As family.
Hug him. Come on. You can do it, guys.
You grasped my fingers with such tiny hands the day you were born. I thought my heart might burst. 'Twas love and happiness beyond expression. Overwhelming. And a conviction so powerful that I trembled with something close to rage. I had heard the final days foretold. I swore to myself then and there that I would not let them steal your futures. The great Exodus would succeed. Must succeed. No sacrifice or sin was worse than the alternative. If anything gave me pause, 'twas mine own father. The Archon Louisoix openly decried Charlian's policies, a perspective which I regarded with increasing disdain as I grew older. Yet even as part of me thought him a fool, perhaps I also hoped that he, of all people, would devise a brilliant means to save my children. A naive hope, but stubborn enough that I could never bring myself to keep you apart. No, that was his doing, when he perished at Cartano. As we pulled that twisted slab of Dalamud from the sea, I remembered the warmth of your newborn touch. Chastened, I vowed never again to suffer any interference in my mission to protect you. No matter that you yourselves wished otherwise. Detest me, fight me tooth and nail, I would suffer it, and more, and be satisfied so long as I could force you onto the ship. I was wrong. You two have grown so much stronger and so much wiser than I dared dream. You have earned the right to walk your own path, and already begun to do so.
Good. Because there are things we care about, and people we love, and none of them is replaceable. Not a one.
It cannot have been an easy journey for you to have come so far.
We shall be glad to acquaint you with the finer details someday, once this danger has passed. All that we have seen and heard, that we have felt and learned in our travels. Ours is not a kind world, but it is beautiful. Always.
Oh no. Are you quite sure that's wise? After all, someone turns pale and flees the room when he sees so much as an envelope containing word of your adventures. Whatever will happen if he learns what you were really up to?
Amelians. Though I have wronged my children most gravely, I owe you an apology as well. I assumed that it was the Scion's influence that made them so keen to charge headlong into danger.
No, they stalked me.
Yours, in particular. I see now that said influence instead brought them together with the many fine people gathered here today. In which case, I hope you continue to guide them.
Okay.
If we've finished loitering about the harbor, might I suggest we put our plans into motion? People are beginning to look confused.
Perhaps you can spare a few words ere they resume the tedious lugging of cargo. You've no small number of friends and admirers here, after all.
Alright, people, get to work. Who's all here? Everyone's here. And I do mean everyone's here. Still no Hien, or Yagiri, or Tetsuya, whatever his name is. Simple and sweet, with me. I'll take that first box and let's go.
Your assistance is appreciated. Now, in an orderly fashion, if you please.
Everybody grab a box. Let's do this. And it's all gone. That was quick. We finally managed to clear the harbor, which means the rest is in the engineer's capable hands. Meanwhile, Father has issued us an invitation. It was agreed, as was agreed, he will reveal by which Heidelin may be contacted. We are to meet him at Aphora. When we're ready, given the vital knowledge she holds, I suggest we leave without delay. It transpires, however, that the forms and methods of speaking with her is not without risks, and I am curious to what those might entail, but regardless, be warned. And most of those who arrived with the Adamantite have offered to stay and see any or many tasks that need doing. The form has already asked for assistance in overseeing the process, so you need not worry about a thing. They just got about another 150 new hands. Thank you, Tataru. We are off to Aporia then. Well, while I'm here, ha ha ha. Okay. Nope. Hit this. Hit this. Hit this. 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 Let us go. Wait. Oh, the levies. Ooh, perfect. Hidden, I've already shown the others inside. You will want to speak with Clarentine. She is the key to the lift and can send you down after me. Okay. You're with Master Falchion, yes? Step inside the lift. Are we gonna have to go through a dungeon, then do the trial, or is the trial first? Oh, we're in the center. From here, we proceed to the heart of Labyrinthos and the most closely guarded secret, Thalmazine. It marks the beginning of the end of our efforts, whence we delve to seek an audience with the star, and whence we will embark on our journey to the heavens. If you will, please. Oh dear God, this is a long run. Run! Watch the course, Coda, please. It's an interesting door. Whoa! Are we gonna have our Normandy reveal? Ooh, she's sleek looking. She's not that big. I bid you welcome to Thalmazine. Direct your attention towards the center and behold the Ark. I missed it. Direct your attention towards the center and behold the Ark which we have long labored. As you can see, 'twas designed as a medium-sized craft. The better to reduce fuel consumption, miniaturizing magics have been applied to its interior. It's a mini thing. To ensure the thrust-weight ratio does not place too great limitation on the freight capacity. Okay. So it makes it smaller. Oh, hi, Shiu. The Aether Burner, as you know, has been removed for further modification, but we shall reattach it soon enough. I have received word that Cockle and several of your allies are working on it with intense fervor. They are sure to see it done. 'Twas by their expertise that many a prior disaster was averted. If anything, I fear they will not afford us much time for speaking with Heidelin. Are they finished? Point taken. Let us move on. I must warn you again, however, that in the event that even with the benefit of our device, to treat with her is not a simple feat. Oh, what? What? Come on. Is that where you want to be? That's where you always are. I have done what I can to impress upon you the gravity of what lies ahead. Are you prepared? What does this hat look like? Oh, hang on. Hi. You can jump. Keep forgetting you have to do these things now. Hey, Archean. That's cool. Oops. What do we got? Oh, it's a new hat with a new visor. I will take it. It works perfectly. Yes. Her children, one and all. We make for the lift to the center of this chamber. Come. I am perfectly ready. The outfit is ready, and I didn't even need to use a color. Up, other way. So as I was saying, guys, I do hope you guys will understand this is going to be a long video. We got a dungeon, which will probably take 30 minutes at most. We're going to have a trial, which will probably take another 15. Then we're going to have probably a long-ass cutscene. On top of the one that we had before. So, buckle in, guys. It's going to be a long one. Can I call that thing the Enterprise? As you all know, alongside our physical world exists the ethereal plane, what we refer to as the ethereal sea. As the heart of the star, the physical and ethereal are one and the same. Thus, the deeper we go, the easier it becomes to pass between these planes. Coda? Oh, put the keyboard down so I can read. We utilize this principle in constructing the anti-tower, and once more here in Thanusian. No sooner did the Forum decide to withdraw from Eorzea than we began to work on this facility. Our work accumulated in a device that allowed us to peer deeper into the ethereal sea than ever before, in search of Heidelin ever fainter echoes. The Ataliscope. And you commune with her through this device? For a time, yeah. But since the 7th Alumbral Calamity, it has been rare to even hear a whisper. If you wish to reach her, you must journey closer to the center of the star than we have ever dared, beyond the Itioscope. I'm gonna need my desk here. Even so, I make no guarantees that you will find her, nor of your safety, so not so deep in the ethereal sea. We understand, but if we are to deliver this world, we have no choice but to try. I know. I only wish we could do more than observe your progress from afar. The Elitoscope's ocular slits, by which we may peer into the ethereal sea without placing ourselves at hazard, lies above us. Through it we can watch and guide you. Sorry if you hear noise, guys, because I'm getting set. Because this is going to be a tough one, I'm sure. In those swirling depths, there are pockets of aether so dense and turbulent that they can unravel one's soul. If we determine that you are at risk of coming in contact with such a pocket, we will recall you with teleportation magics. To that end, it would be best if one familiar with the composition of your souls remained here to assist in asserting said risk. Otherwise, there is an increased probability that we will extract you too early or too late. Please allow me. I have thought much upon this, and in truth, I do not believe I am fit to join you on the trials ahead. Jeez, Coda, stop. The events at the Tower of Babel drained me, yes. But before that, your capabilities far outstripped my own. This is no time to have a weak link in our vanguard. no matter how much she may wish it were otherwise. If I assist in the manner that Master Fortuna has laid out, I, however, may still be of use. Will you trust me to do so? I can think of none other I trust more, compared to all the effort you put in keeping us alive while our souls were in the first, preventing us from dissolving into ether on a single expedition, ought to pose no challenge at all. Even if we did, I expect you would hunt us down to restore us to health somehow. You flatter me, but rest assured I will be keeping a close eye on all of you. Is this where everybody starts dropping like flies? There is one more thing. Though the ages past referred to the ethereal sea as the underworld, our final resting place, it is, in its embrace, is memory washed away, leaving only a purity of one soul, or so we believe. Cody, you're gonna cause a problem right there. Yet what of these memories few think as damn it. Jeez, Coda, please stop. I apologize, guys. Coda keeps sitting in front of the television and I can't see. For what of these memories few think to ask what becomes of them, cast adrift on ethereal tides. Some theorize that they linger for some times, those associated with strong sentiment in particular. Are we about to go to the far plane? In those depths, memories of the departed may even coalesce around you, for hatred or for love. Thus do I caution you to be wary, but also to have faith. Remember those who did gladly extend a hand to you, and that they may lift you up once more. Where's Gogetsu? He's the one person we haven't seen yet. Him, Hein, and Yagiri. Okay, so it looks like it's dungeon first. Let us do this. Oh. Item level synced. Coda. Stop, please. I love you to death, but please stop. Just lay down. Just lay down. Please, lay down, Coda. Be a good girl. Well. Two Lalafels with us. Great.
All seems in order with the lens, and I trust you can hear me.
Oh.
Those things are pure malcontent, the residue of lives unfulfilled.
Okay. Oh, screw it. She already put the bubble down. I'm gonna stay here. Don't pick me up. Really? Slugger small boy? Breakfast enjoyer? Really? Where's the healer? So small pulls then? I'd rather stay alive. Relatable. Relatable. Understandable. Cringe. Seeking cynicism? Seeking rivalry? Interesting. Well, my first time. Also, say hi to you too. Gilbert. Oh. Oh no! Lopper! Oh dear, this is gonna hurt, isn't it? Immersive, unfamiliar wisdom, the memory of a discipled scion takes form. Uh-oh. Livitya. Oh. Okay. It's the White Ranger lady? They're onto my page, Aguila. Oh, hello. Oh, hi. Gotta keep an eye on her hands, it seems. Wait a minute. Oh, shoot, I lost the power. least it wasn't one that was needed. But I do need to find it. Pop it up. Where is it? There it is. Ow. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Here it comes. Oh! Ow! That kinda hurt. Ow! What the hell was that? Oh shoot, I don't have... have many heals. Don't want to break that too early. Down she goes. Slaying
Follow
fast.
the flow of ether. It will guide you.
Okay, cool.
The ether is too dense. Ah, I'm losing you.
I'm not sure if this is pretty or scary. Reminds me of Final Fantasy 13. Going through the... Oh! Hi! Back over here. What the hell? Seriously, guys, come on. Get on me. Affection. Oh, Arbert. I know that axe anywhere. Oh, Horashafant. Thank you, Horashafant. I hit the wrong button. Whatever. Oh, hi, hi. Hi, what's up? Hello, what are you doing? Jeez, what is up with the healer? Never seen such a terrible white mage outside of myself. Bending. Ooh, new item. Need it. And mine. What? Is that the guy we murdered in 45 seconds? At least that's my record. Yo, look at me, buddy. Whoa. Oh, shoot. Where's my mouse? There it is. Sometimes I hate having second screens because I lose my mouse on the other one sometimes. Notice me, senpai. No, I always wanted to say that. Cool. Oh, was that supposed to hurt? Pop this. Last time. Ooh, more pending. Bargear. Whoa. The hell is this? I'll take it, whatever it is. Ow. 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 What the hell? Dishonesty. Parody? Okay, cool. Blast him with this. Oh, nice. Always keep everything on me. More fending. Ah, I already have it. What do we got here?
So, it's stubborn to the last.
Is that you, Fan Daniel?
Is as far as you go. Oblivion beckons!
Amon became a Death Sight? Death Seeker? Death Seek? Can't remember what they're called.
Many faces have I worn, but this is my favorite by far! You will persist in this folly no longer!
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh! I see that floor. I see that floor.
The stage is set! Let the curtains rise for the main attraction!
Wait, is that Sheila?
What a boorish audience you are!
Okay. So we have, what's her name, hanging out. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm backing up. Ow. Top of this. Everybody who's died is helping out. It's really awesome. Does that mean Papa Limo's going to make an appearance? Having the trial? I just hit 90.
Lies! All lies!
I just hit maximum.
Your hopes, your futures, delusions and lies!
Hi. I got one commendation. How many times are you going to have to fight your ass?
My very essence begins to wane. Sweet, sweet agony.
Leave this to her.
Come to deal the coup de grace.
No.
Good. Watching you struggle against the inevitable is bad comedy. Erase me from existence, soul and all.
Have you any memories of Meteon?
How would you know that name?
I was there.
Then it was you. And Elpis. Or them itself. The final pieces fall into place. In my halcyon days, as the mortal Ammon, I was haunted by a dream. Night after night, the faceless multitude, the voiceless cries, shards of shattered memories. But slowly, the fog began to clear. This was Elpis. And I was Hermes. Recurring though it was, I paid this dream little heed. It was only when I was granted the seat and memories of Fandaniel that I knew these visions to be true. They were the memories of Hermes that he himself erased using the power of Kairos. Or so he thought. In his attempt to burn away the events of that fateful day, he succeeded only in searing them more deeply into his soul. My soul. Death failed to expunge them, no matter how many times it came. Rebirth after rebirth, from one Fandaniel to the next. I wonder, is Emet-Selch adrift somewhere in this ethereal sea? In defeat, finally remembering your time together in Elpis? How it must gall him to be entrusted with knowledge of the final days, only to be rendered powerless to act upon it. So many lifetimes dedicated to restoring his beloved Amarok in blissful ignorance. Oh, folly! But make no mistake, my life as Hermes is not the reason I invited the world's end. I have lived. I have struggled. I have dredged the very depths of despair. And in the detritus of existence, I found the truth. I served a great ruler, powerful beyond measure. The world his dominion. Yet even he and his vast empire were destined to fall, to become one with oblivion. At the end of life's journey lies only death. So I ask you, why live at all? We betray, we torment, we murder. We are wicked, spiteful creatures, without exception. If life is so sacred, so precious, why fill it with such misery? Man wallows in a hell of his own making without purpose or meaning. To live is to suffer, and I would end that suffering by my own hand. It matters not if it flies in the face of all believed right and just. Death is the only solution! That is my truth, my answer to the question, and yet, even as the words pass my lips, I am filled with doubt. Has my search reached its end? Was this the only way? After all these years, is this the answer I was hoping for?
The lamentations of the damned. How it vexes me to see your conviction falter at the last. Fandaniel, still clinging to existence, I see. You, who champion death so fervently, unwilling to accept your own, refusing to be purified and swept into the sea of souls. As do I. We prisoners to men, watching as the world turns. Though unlike me, you will be spared the ignominy of having your corpse made a puppet, dancing to another's tune.
Is that Arsahe?
How very astute. But let me be clear, I have not come to consort with the likes of you. Nor have I come to bemoan the state of the world following my untimely demise. In fact, I delight in mankind's downfall, and the anguish it brings the savior of the savages. If I played some small part in the chaos, all the better. Not that I was in any position to resist. But to be made accomplice to the betrayal of Lord Xenos. I would die 1,000 deaths to exact my vengeance. Now you are at my mercy. I shall drag us both into oblivion, and you will never see the fulfillment of your magnum opus. Even should you be reborn, your desperate search for answers must start again.
I'll do what must be done.
And what might that be? My wish is all but granted. To die and take you all with me.
Don't try to follow me. I had more of you people than I could stomach in life. Never mind in death.
Likewise. I pray we do not meet again.
You had better hope not.
Come. Hydaelyn is waiting.
Brave travelers, I welcome you. I see. Thou didst journey under Elpis. And now, the rivers of time converge. I know why you have come. Yet I would hear you speak your reasons all the same.
You created the moon to deliver mankind from the final days. But is that really how it has to end? We do not wish to abandon this world. We want to protect the source and all of its shards.
To flee is but one of two paths. The other leadeth to Meteon, far beyond the stars, where she doth chant creation's requiem. Her domain is formed of dynamis, pure, absolute. Where emotion and memory govern all, ether will avail you naught. Meteon hath gathered the pain and despair of countless stars, and to go unprepared is to go unto your doom.
We'll beat her. We'll win. I swear it. Is what I might have said, once. After everything I've seen, all the times I've succumbed to my own anger and fear. I can no longer pretend that courage and faith will be enough. But are we truly so powerless? That our only choice is to flee?
Far from it, my child. Long ago, the inhabitants of myriad stars, many more prosperous than Atheris, sought to free their worlds from life's woes. Sorrow and anger, conflict and hostility, despair, and even death itself. But as Meteon reported, every attempt ended in failure. Darkness abideth within every living being and can never be cast out. Neither reason nor faith can challenge this immutable truth. To live is to suffer. And in suffering, find strength and purpose and hope. As you have done so many times before. Thou dost pursue an impossible dream, yet knowing this, you pursue it nevertheless. And thou hast learned to depend on others as they do thee. Thy yearning for the power to save the powerless hath ever driven thee to greater heights. Thou hast grown strong. Though those closest to thee no longer walketh by thy side, their love remaineth thy guiding light. For duty's sake, thou hast been bound by truths unutterable time and time again. Yet thy heart hath never wavered, as thy companions will attest. In thy pursuit of mysteries great, all thou believest is brought into question. Undaunted, thy thirst for knowledge remaineth unquenched. The fires of hatred that once burned in thy heart burneth no more. From their ashes doth spring the light of love, warm and pure. As witness to black calamity, thou despaired at man's helplessness. Resolved, thou didst unite a distant world on the brink of collapse. And thou, my champion. When all did seem lost, thou never abandoned hope. For every trial and every foe that did bar thy way, thou hast proven equal to the challenge, drawing courage from the many bonds forged on thy journey. You have all known despair, and though the end approacheth, you walk on, heads held high. Therein lieth your power, the strength to silence the song of oblivion.
Then there is a means to confront her.
Yes, if you should prove yourselves worthy. Hark! Nigh impossible is it to send mortals to the edge of the universe. Should you fail, there will be no second chance. As the will of the star, I ask of you this. Do you possess the fortitude to stand firm when all around you does crumble? Do you possess the faith to vanquish despair itself? Should you lack the strength to best a supreme deity, I cannot allow you to make the journey. You must leave this star and never return. Prepare yourselves.
Prove ourselves worthy, then. Sounds straightforward enough.
Aye. No room for confusion there.
In any case, we've come too far to back down now.
I am of the same mind. What power I have, I shall bring to bear.
The three of you seem to be forgetting who we're up against. It's not every day we battle a divine being of untold power. Well, not quite every day. Do try not to get underfoot. Needless to say, there'll be no margin for error.
Let us hold nothing back. For the people of this world and those beyond the rift.
Alas, the question I posed to thee in Elpis hath remained unanswered these long years. I would hear thy response, warrior of light. Shouldst thou emerge victorious?
It's time to fight God. It's gonna be, During this quest, you'll be using the Trust System Scenario Mode. You have the opportunity to undertake the trial with a party of Scions. Okay, so... do I have to do this with the Scions? Or do I have to... Nope, I can do this with a group. You probably know what the hell they're doing. Ooh. Attack that one. Bing! Aww. Oh, it is dead time. Shoot. give it a minute. I might have to deal with the trust system. Nope, there he comes. People are queuing in. Come on, guys. Just need a tank and a healer now. Here it is. Cool, we got another warrior. Hey, it's the... So, the Santa Girl chick.
I, the last of my kind, shall test thee. Come, prove thy worth. Have you the strength of will to alter man's fate? A change of arms. May the test continue.
Healer.
Light unyielding.
Ow. She just helped us. What is this thing? Ooh, that was a big one. It's an inner release item only. Ow. So if that's inner release only, move that here, move this here. They're he comes again.
Light unyielding.
Ow. Oh, hello.
By blade. Crystals of light, to me. Here. The song of creation's end. Feel. The sorrow at hope's demise.
What the hell is wrong with my...
Think. And find your way in the darkness. Follow your light. Or fly, my children, and never look back. Then you are resolved. But this test is far from over.
Whoa.
By crystal's light. Light unyielding. Refulgence eternal.
Whoa.
Where near or far. Where high or low. By blade!
Oh! Ow! We just got wrecked. I have to adjust. Okay. Okay. What? Okay.
The strength of will to alter man's fate.
I hate people who are idiots.
Change of arms. May the test continue.
Red is in. Green is out.
Light ideal.
And
Where near or far.
that hurts.
By blade! Crystals of light, to me! Creation's end. Feel.
Ow!
The sorrow and hope's demise. Think. Find your way in the darkness. Or fly, my children, and never look back. Then you are resolved.
Get back to the front.
By crystal's light.
Out.
Light on you. Refulgence eternal.
And
where near or far. Where high or low.
oh, okay. Shit. Oh, shoot.
By blade.
Do it. Hit it. Hit it. Okay. Not sure what's going on here. Waves of light. And
where near or far.
out.
Light unyielding.
Got it. Oh, this has to be a hell or hellacious healing thing.
By blade.
Ow. Got it.
Where near or far.
Notice me, senpai.
Light unyielding.
Come on. Out. Oh, shit.
By blade.
Oh, tanks and healers are alive.
Where near or far.
I've never seen a... Wow. Okay.
Light unyielding.
Bam! Did we just kill God?
At last, man has the strength to...
Would be an RPG if we didn't.
No! This can't be happening!
Though my power is in constant flux, I have always kept a reserve for this very moment. It was a true test of your prowess. You have done well.
There is one thing I must ask. By sundering the world into 14 shards, the ether of all living beings too was divided. This reduction would in theory allow us to more easily interact with Dynamis. Having seen mankind brought to the very precipice of extinction, you wished for us to develop a means to overcome despair. You believed we had the potential, and sundered all creation to see it fulfilled, to deliver us to that swirling maelstrom of Dynamis in which our foe hides, and grant us the power to defeat her once and for all. Is this not true?
It is as thou sayest. 'Twas the trial to which I subjected mankind, and it hath led to untold bloodshed and suffering. There was no kindness, nor justice in the tragedy I wrought. When confronted with the almighty Zodiac, my only recourse was rend him and the world asunder, that his power be diminished for a time. And so it came to pass. Now you, my chosen, have surpassed my expectations, surpassed me. I entrust the fate of the universe unto you. This crystal contains the memory of Meteon's passage through the stars. Deliver it unto the Loporrits. They will guide you to her.
Though they may be capable of crossing great distances, there is a vast difference between traveling to the moon and the furthermost reaches of the great expanse. And unlike Meteon, we cannot simply soar on waves of dynamis to our destination.
Indeed. To make such a journey would require an astronomical amount of ether. But a solution lieth close at hand.
Of course.
Yes, my child. Ever since I became the will of the star, the ether drawn here had slowly crystallized. They who have answered my call know it well. While I have remained hidden, it hath become the embodiment of the planet's will in my place. A faceless, omnipotent force of nature. The Mother Crystal, our final hope. Alas, I can do no more. The fulfillment of this task doth fall to you, my chosen. Now, heed these words. Darkness and light, despair and hope. As goeth one, so goeth the other. Become light, become hope. I have a gift for thee. Come closer. Long have I searched for a means to safeguard the future of this star. Though I knew failure after failure, by recalling thy tales and my promise to thee, I found the strength to carry on. Though the world is ever changing, thy thirst for adventure hath never waned. Thine unshakable resolve never ceases to amaze, to inspire. As a mark of my gratitude, I bestow this final gift. Thou dost possess the crystal of Azan, yes? As Heidelin, I reside over the forces of stasis, tranquility, peace. The laws which impart stability to existence itself. I will weave this self-same power into the crystal, granting thee mastery over matter, to give form to the formless. Use it wisely, or it will not last indefinitely. As thou hast seen on thy journey through the ethereal sea, souls are drawn to thee. Mayhap this trait will prove to be a boon rather than a hindrance. It is thy hopes and prayers that enable Azam's invocations and give them life. So keep them close. But pray, remember this. When the way forward is hidden, even from the mind's eye, look not to the invocation, but within yourself. These were the words of the crystal's original bearer. With that, my work is finished. Fulfill our promise. Right the wrongs committed when the world was yet whole. Silence the song of oblivion. Teach her a brighter melody. Show her our journey is far from over. Of this, I have no doubt, for yours is a light brilliant beyond measure. Long after I have gone, though not even my soul remaineth, my love will be with you forever, my dearest children.
Well, that was something else, wasn't it, guys? I'm glad to see you well, though we could roughly place your souls deep as you went. We neither could see nor hear you. The fluctuations in your ether near at the end gave me quite a fright. What in the world happened? We killed God. That's what happened. Hi. Oh boy. You mean Heidelin is gone? Yes. No, there's no time to feel our feelings. We must carry out Heidelin's will without delay. We must find Pateron if it is the last thing we do. If you want, we wouldn't mind handing over the crystal, that is. I fancy the fancy navigation one. Right. To the edge of the universe, where congregates of despair of countless stars, you are determined to see this through. We are. Should words fail us, we will fight to the bitter end. I know it pains you to accept this, but what I need to ask you is nothing. What I need to ask, would that I need ask nothing more of you. Yet we have only two means of travel, the Great Expanse, the Moon and Charlene's Ark. I am all too aware that without both of them, there will be no exit. There will be no exits. But nevertheless, I beg you to honor the agreement we made. The Form's decision will be honored. You have earned the right to use the ship as you see fit. That I could not rescind it even if I wanted to. As it happens, I do not. And would do all in my power to aid your cause. With that settled, might I suggest a rest for a while? Proving oneself to Heidelin is never easy, and despite our unparalleled genius, we'll need a day to make the necessary calculations. You may as well take advantage of it. You can chart course through the sea of stars in a single day? Ye gods. I need to move this. Shall we head above ground for some fresh air? And perhaps a nap? Yes. We have earned it after all that. Okay, that... I don't know how to really take that. It wasn't as hurtful or harmful to my psyche as I thought it would be. I thought I wasn't ready for that fight. But, it is what it is, I guess. But we are going to end it here. Hopefully we're allowed this rest. I'm expecting you. I heard about your foray into the ethereal sea. The students have ventured far and wide, but never quite that deep. Are you experiencing any after effects of prolonged exposure? Nausea, dizziness, hauntings, huh? Well, have a pleasant sleep, and if you do experience any unusual phenomena, please let me know. I shall add it to our records. There it is. So I will end it here. I don't know what's going to happen next. So, yep, I'm just going to end it here. Do not know what's going to happen next. So thank you guys for watching, and I do apologize for the length of the video. It had to be done. So, see ya.